Hi everyone, it's Ileana and I have a card to share with you today. This is a card that I did for a workshop and I thought I would just share it with you today. I am using the Hero Arts Flowers for You stamp set. The back of the packaging does have how the layers work together. I'm taking the sentiment and I'm placing it in the middle of my transparency. This transparency is available for free on my website. You can download it and take it to your local print shop and have them put it on a transparency for you. I'm taking the sentiment and I'm cleaning it off. I did use it previously, but I used baby wipes instead of my stamp chamois, and it did leave a lot of lint behind. And so I am just wiping it off or scrubbing it with my stamp scrubber from Close to My Heart. It's a soft bristle brush, and so it really helps to get rid of all of those little pieces of lint that may be on your stamp. I'm stamping my card with VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and now I'm moving on to stamping my flowers. The flowers have 3 layers on them, but I only chose to do 2 just to keep it simple. And I did start with my dark color, the second layer. I found it was easier to do that to help line things up. And I'm using Ruby Red. I am making multiples of this card, and so by using only 2 of the layers, it really made fast work of the cards. Now you will see me use my stamp chamois to clean off the red ink, and followed by the ColorBox cleaning pad. And the reason why I do that is that I want to remove as much of the red ink with the chamois, and then I go back and remove the residue with the ColorBox cleaning pad. That way it doesn't leave anything behind, and when you place your stamp onto your project, it doesn't leave the residue. Sometimes when you use colors like red, it does leave a residue, and then you go to use a lighter color and it doesn't really stamp the correct color. And so the ColorBox cleaner actually is a convenient cleaner because it's in the shape of a pad and you don't have to spray anything on your stamp, and you just kind of scrub it and then you remove the residue from the cleaner with your stamp chamois. Now I'm moving on to the flower for the other corner, and so I've just bumped up my card to the top corner of the MISTI, and that way I could stamp off the edges. For the base layer of the flower, I'm using Altenew Frosty Pink. And just so you know, all of the inks that I'm using are from Altenew. They're really great because they select all the colors for you for layering, and so it makes it really easy to come up with color combinations. And I don't know if you could tell from my video because it is going pretty fast, but you'll notice that on the bottom of my stamp pads there is an R, and I mark all of my stamp pads with an R. It'll let me know that I have the refill for that ink, and that way I don't have to go look through my refills to see if I have one. So I'll always know just by adding a little R to my ink pads whether I have an ink refill or not. Now for the leaves, I am using the Evergreen and the Forest Glades. And I've just positioned them just so that it's easy for me to put little flowers in between. The second step to this, as I said, I did it in reverse. So instead of doing the base and then going to the darker, I did the darker. It just made it easier to line up the stamp. Sometimes when you stamp with the lighter color first, it's hard to see through the stamp to get everything lined up. But if you use a bold color and then you go back and do this step, it's a little bit easier to line things up. There is a downfall to doing that, and I'll explain that at the end of the video when I do the little blue flowers. But for now, you'll just see me continue on. You'll also notice that I am using the new bar magnet. It is the exact same strength as the disc magnets, but it feels like it's stronger because it is just wider across the card. So I am lining up, once again, the second layer first. And I am using the Dusk from Altenew. And what I did notice is that when you stamp the lighter color on top, that it actually mutes that brighter color. So that's something to keep in mind, and I'll show you a comparison near the end of the video. But when I stamp this with the ocean waves, it looks really bright here, but after the ink dries back a little bit, you'll see that that dark dusk is actually quite muted, and it's not nearly as bright as it is when it's wet. So you could see right here, and I'm showing you that on the one on the far right, that one I stamped the base first and then the dusk, and so you can see that it's quite vibrant. And so now I'm going to go ahead and go back and I'm going to line up the stamp where it was before, and I'm going to go back and add another layer of that dusk. So just keep that in mind when you're stamping in reverse like I did earlier. And so here are the two cards that I wanted you to see. One, I went back and stamped the dusk back over, and the one on the bottom is the one where I didn't. So you could see where stamping the lighter color over the darker muted it quite a bit. I am adding a little bit of white jelly roll just to show the centers a little bit. You can always go back and add some sequins or some Wink of Stella, but I wanted to keep this real simple. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe as well. Have a great day.